Hey everyone, I'm making this video because today we won't have classes. I'm sure some of you guys are bummed out about that. So sorry about that. I'm out of town today or this week, so we'll just have to do this. And just as a reminder, um, Thursday's class there's not gonna be class on that day because of Thanksgiving. So just go spend some time with your family and have fun and yeah, just have a good Thanksgiving um, to you all. Today in our class, I wanted to just kind of touch on one topic, uh, and it's going to be on one of those assignments, which is going to cover the building and the detection and building of an alert. So essentially, I want you to go into Wazoo and build an alert, and then make sure it triggers. So that's why it was so important that on last week you were able to see that log of that attack that you recreated, because then we want to grab that log and then see and look at the rule itself and see what it triggered on, and then hopefully you can recreate that in Wazoo here and then create your own alert based off of that existing alert. If you weren't able to find if you weren't able to get an alert working, or you know get some detection working, you can just start from zero and then just kind of recreate your own, or try a different attack. Different avenues might create different alerts. I know one of the ones I saw that was alerting was a web shell on Castleback. So if you weren't able to get logging or an alert, figure out how to upload a web shell into Castleback. That should be on the walkthroughs, I believe. There's a vulnerability where you can upload a file and just kind of have a web shell in there. And I know for sure there's going to be some logging around that. Okay, but I do want to show you how to build that alert. So let me grab that here, make myself small. Okay, should be able to see my Wazoo screen at this point. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into security events, and I'm gonna show you that currently, um, here's all the events. I'm gonna go ahead and trigger one of the alerts that we had on week 1. So this was downloading macro, and this is an Excel macro. So I'm gonna rerun that. So we're gonna wait a minute there for it to run. And then we go back to Wazoo. I'm gonna filter down that event. Okay, these are let's do the last 15 minutes. Okay, so this is 1329, and you see it's 129. So this is our current alert. What's important here is so it triggered. We know it triggered. So obviously this is what's important, but since we're trying to build an alert, we want to learn uh, as much as we can about this alert. So it's usually going to be towards the bottom of that log. You're going to see rule, how many times it fired, groups, and then what's important here is this ID. So this ID, it would then redirect us into where it's currently at. Okay, it's taking a minute. Okay, so if you clicked on that ID, it's now going to give you the information, which it would tell you, hey, this ID, it's currently under this file, where it's all of my other rules are at. So it's going to be there, and then it's going to tell you that it's dependent on this SID. It's going to say this rule is looking for a pattern, and it's going to be that pattern of that Excel file. And then a level 12, just kind of like the priority of that event. Okay, and then it kind of pulls similar rules to this one. In this case, we're not really interested in any of those. Okay, so in here you have an ID, so I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna grab that, or I'm gonna remember that ID, whichever one. I'm just gonna copy it because I'm not gonna remember that. And if we go into Wazoo here in the main page under management, under administration, you're gonna see that tab, rules. So click on that, and here it's gonna pull all the rules by name. So it looks like we have about 4,522 rules. What we're interested on, and because we're gonna change that, it's gonna be this rule files. So click on that, manage rule files. These are gonna be like the default, the ones that Wazoo comes with installed. And what we're interested in is here in this custom rules. So we're gonna click on that. You're gonna see that student rules file. There's gonna be a sample, and then there's gonna be a local underscore rules. We're actually gonna use these local underscore rules. So if you click on that, it's gonna be empty right now. As students start adding their own rules, you're gonna see that fill up in here, because this is the file that I want you to use. But let's find our other rule that we triggered. So that's going to be under the student rules. So if I open that up, you're going to see there's a ton of them. And then remember that ID I told you to save. You copy that, and then you Control F. You can do Control F, or you can just search on the page, whichever that works. I paste that ID, and it finds it. So this is my rule right here. That's in the ID. It's level 12. You can see it's looking for. So this F SID. What this means is saying, hey, if this other rule got triggered, then go ahead and trigger this one as well. So in this case, for this rule, or for this specific alert, I also want to find this other ID. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, so they're all ifs. Okay, there we go. And make sure it's under ID and not under if, because there's going to be some other alerts that might depend on that rule ID, and that's where you're going to see a bunch of other hits as well. So if I look at this one, it looks like this rule, it's grabbing Sysmon event 1, which a group in Wazoo, it's another set of rules. These are actually dependent for Sysmon, and it looks like it's the technique. It will match PowerShell, and it essentially monitors the execution of PowerShell. Okay, so because I want my rule to my alert to kind of overshadow or be the first one to fire, I'm actually gonna go off of this if group Sysmon event 1, because I want mine to fire first. So I'm actually gonna go back to that original one. Okay, and I'm gonna grab some notes here. I'm gonna grab this right here. I'm gonna copy that over to an empty notepad. Make sure I have that saved, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go into the FSID, and then you see how there's some other that it says FSID. So I don't want that one. I want the one that's specific. I want where it's a rule ID. There you go, rule ID. So I'm gonna grab this portion of it, this if group Sysmon event, because I want mine to be trigger first. So essentially, what this means is that this rule is gonna look at the sysmon event itself, and it's not gonna wait for that other rule to be triggered. Okay. So let's grab that. I think we're good there. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna go into the local rules, which is where I want you to put those in there, and I'm gonna copy that. Something very important, actually, I do need to add a group here. You don't have to do this part. Student, comma, and then all of you are gonna post within that group. And then I need the close tag on that. Okay. So you all can go ahead and post that inside those group tags. And I need to close this tag right. You can post your rules inside of here. Okay. So what's important here is that we need to make sure we have a unique ID. If I go into the assignment itself, let me pull that up. You're gonna see that I have a few requirements in there, and one of those requirements is that you have any number higher than 10. What is it? 100,020. So because I'm gonna use 100,020, so I'm gonna copy that, and that's gonna be my rule ID. This has to be unique to your alert or to your ID. So if you're, let's say you're the next person that's gonna do, the next assignment, make sure you're 100,021 and 22 and 20, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Just look at the other rules above you, make sure no one has that ID, and you should be good to go. In this case, let's say I'm going to say it's a level 10, and then another one of the requirements, so set the level required. This is for the alert itself, so to make sure it triggers, make sure it's above 5. I put mine at 10 right now, and then set your unique description. So in this case, I'm just going to do like solid shadow, spawn from an Excel doc. There you go. So that's kind of unique to it. And then this regex is going to look for, again, that extension in that file, and we should be all good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. So if everything's good, it will say, if all your syntax is good to go, it will say, hey, you need to restart the service. So go ahead and click on that restart and confirm it. So now the whole cluster is going to restart. It's going to take about a minute or so. So give it some time. Give it some time in there. In the meantime, we'll go into the events. Make sure that triggers again. And then we'll go into the last set of hours. We'll do the last 5 minutes. I'm actually gonna refresh every 10 seconds, so that way the event shows up and I don't have to keep clicking refresh every time. I don't recommend doing this because it will literally take you back to the top every time it refreshes. But for right now, that's gonna work. Okay, and then so this should have completed. It doesn't give us a restart complete message, but just take into account 1 minute, you should be good to go. We'll go into my Caldera, run the attack again. It's running. It's going now. So now I'm just gonna wait 2 seconds there. Once it says success, and it's currently collecting. It's going. Okay, success. So now I'm gonna go back into the Wazoo. I'm gonna do XLS. Okay, so it's gonna look for it. In this case, it looks like it worked. And you see right here, and I can confirm that this is my rule because it's the 100,020. And my levels number 10, what I set it, and you can see it's what I put as a description in here, right? Solid Shadow. You can put your last name, your name, your hacker handle, whatever you want. Just want to make sure it's to you because I want to make sure you're doing the assignment. And then just kind of like that description. If you open it up, you can kind of see, this is what I was telling you, kind of refreshes. You can see my attack right here, or the log of that attack. Okay, so really that's all that it's about. And then you can just kind of submit a screenshot of the rule, either of the rule itself, of the rule itself and of the log, just kind of like having that event in there as well. I'm more interested in this event because I can look up the ID and then confirm on the sim that you did it right, and I can look this up. But if you send me this, because I want to make sure it triggered, we should be in a good standing. Okay. Really, that's all for that assignment. Let me know if you have any questions for that, or if you're running into any issues as you try to create this alert. And you should be all good to go. Yeah, I don't have any other things. Oh, I do have one more thing. Just remember that assignments for week 1, 2, 3, and 4 are gonna close this Friday. So make sure you get those submitted. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm not gonna grade any other assignments from week 1 through 4. So make sure you get all that in, and we should be good to go. Okay. Well, everyone, this is all I had. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm in Teams in there. Just reach out or inbox in Canvas, whichever. Just let me know. Okay, happy Thanksgiving and enjoy the holidays.